Citizens of Chillicothe, Ohio. How would you feel if you were being held against your will in a mental health facility, and for years were subjected to the barbaric practice of forced drugging? Knowing you were of sound mind but were being coerced into pleading not guilty by reason of insanity with no evidence of mental illness or being imminently dangerous. We are anonymous, and this is the story of John Rohrer, a story which the state of Ohio has tried to hide. A Chillicothe, Ohio native since 1996, John Rohrer led a typical small-town life. He lived with his mother and sister while attending Chillicothe High School. Fast forward to 2006 and this, my fellow citizens, is where his story and the reason we are coming to you starts. A young man who earned a degree from Ohio University and published several books, John also excelled as a songwriter and performer, but made an error in judgment. Under the influence of a substance, John was invited to a friend's house. However, in his altered state of mind, John entered the wrong house. When the house's occupants arrived, instead of being understanding and accepting of John's apologies, they called the authorities and pushed for felony charges. Instead of reacting out of fear and trying to flee, he understood that the right action was to cooperate. So he stayed and went willingly when the officers arrived, but the authorities tried to paint a different picture of him and the events of the evening. One error, his first offense, an open and shut case that would have normally resulted in probation, became and continues to be a nightmare of reality for John and his loved ones. He was forced to live in a violent group home in Chillicothe where he and others were drugged with SSRI drugs known to cause bizarre violence such as what we have seen in the school shooting and other acts of public violence. Following a severe attack from another man in 2009, John struck a man who had been grabbing at him. Manipulated again into pleading not guilty by reason of insanity, John was denied all due process, although there wasn't and has yet to be any evidence that proves that, without the government's drugs, he has ever been violent, had a mental illness, or would be a danger to himself or others. In the nearly 10 years since the initial incident, John has been denied his civil rights and due process while being subjected to many rounds of unnecessary antipsychotic medication trials, which had no positive results. The negative side effects, however, were many, and although he was finally freed from the government's drugs in 2014, he has been left with psychiatric drug-induced neurological damage, not to mention injuries from the many attacks he has suffered in the mental hospitals. It has been nearly 10 years since John has seen the outside world, because he has been denied his right to due process, the right to jury trial, and the right to appeal. Today, John spends his days in the Appalachian Behavioral Health Care lockup. A lucid, intelligent man who deserves his chance to be a productive member of society has had most of his young adult life stolen from him at the hand of a corrupt system. How would you feel if this was your friend, cousin, brother, or son? How would you feel if it was you? Would you hope that someone on the outside was doing everything they could to tell your story and maybe give you a chance to return to a life of purpose? Well, that's what John's mother and loved ones have tried to do. Motion after motion have fallen on deaf ears and blind eyes. So, citizens of Chillicothe, Ohio, we come to you now as your brothers and sisters, your sons and daughters, and your friends. We are here for you because we are a part of you. Help us, stand with us, and show that we will not accept one of our own being treated like this. Join us at 9 a.m. on January 26th at the Chillicothe Courthouse on Paint Street for John's hearing, and let's show him he is not alone. Until next time, Chillicothe, be kind to one another. We are all we have. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.